people buy from people, they don't buy from a company, right?
Hmm.
And so using that to tell the story of your business. I'm a storyteller. He would tell
Yeah.
you, like, that's his favorite word for me is you're a storyteller. That's really what it comes down to. You want to tell the story of your business in a way that captures attention.
Hmm.
So it has to be done with intent. It can't just be willy-nilly.
What's up, Camden County? You are catching episode 49 of the Getting in Your Business podcast. I'm your host, Allison Shores from the Camden County Chamber of Commerce. This Getting in Your Business podcast is made possible by our Chairman Circle sponsors, Georgia's Own Credit Union, Lockheed, Comcast Business, Georgia Power Company, Sparklight, Plug Power, St. Mary's DDA, TDS Telecom, and Ameris Bank. Thank you to all of our sponsors. All right, guys, today in the studio, I have some very fun people, and I cannot wait to get down to business with them. I've got Jennifer and Tom from Manic Social. Whoop, whoop. So Jennifer, you guys helped us out with the Boss Lady event that we had. And you have been helping us with Lunch and Learns here, learning about marketing.
Learning about marketing.
Yeah.
Hoping to continue to do that. Have some great ideas and other things I want to bring to Camden in that direction.
And I love that. So let's talk a little bit how you got into this line of work. Like, how did we get here?
How did we get here? I started Manic Social 2014. I built my first website in 1997. I've been doing this a long time.
Oh.
Really, I was in a small town market, much like St. Mary's, and worked with their chamber to do the same thing. Back in those days, Book of Face was new and nobody really knew what to do with it. And I kind of jumped in that pool and started swimming. It's gone through a bunch of iterations and different things as I've moved and kinda got back in the area. And then 2 years ago, I had one of those really bad things called a job that I
Yeah.
hated.
Yeah.
And Tom walked in and said,
What'd you say, Tom?
"What'd you say, Tom?"
Yeah, I didn't want a job.
No.
Yeah.
So
So, yeah.
I talked about being business owners,
Right.
right? And then you already had the foundation of Manic Social from the past. And I retired from the Navy and I said, let's start a business.
Yeah.
So you were in the Navy.
I was.
Were you stationed here?
No, not here.
Okay.
I retired out of Mayport,
Okay.
Florida. And prior to that was my first time being stationed in Florida. So
Okay.
prior to that, I was mostly in San Diego and Norfolk.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Manic Social was born. So let's talk about what is Manic Social. What all do you do? Because I feel like it is so much.
Manic Social does anything that has to do with marketing.
Anything.
Anything. So
Okay.
we do shirts, we do print, we do banners.
Mm-hmm.
Our real weight of where we stand out are creating brands, doing the logos, creating the whole, making the pretty on all those stuff.
Yeah.
And then we start with a brand and then we take it, we do all full service websites. We do social media management. We do pay-per-click. We do anything.
When
that
you
has to
say
do with
social media management, that just like dings in my ear because, a lot of people. Okay, so I'm in my 40s and like I can do Facebook, right? But past that, I can do Instagram, I guess, because they're kind of they'll share between each other. So I say that I can do Instagram. But other than that, like I'm not, and I don't understand the analytics behind everything.
Right.
Now through this job, Kanan has helped me understand some of it, but I don't think a lot of our business owners really grasp the social media and how important it is to stay consistent and to know the message in which you're marketing.
Right.
And to know that the pictures on there need to be, great pictures, not just like click, click, click,
Right.
So I think so when you say that you are social media management, like what all does that entail?
So we will do anything. So we really will take your whole brand and drive it. We have a couple different options. We do coaching for social media where we kind of teach you and help you come up with a strategy because most people are just willy-nilly shooting stuff out and hoping to see what happens.
I mean, I was.
And so we'll work on the strategy that actually drives the business to your business. We do consistency and we'll cover anything. So we can do Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google My Business pages. We write articles for Reddit or Medium or any of those things where people need content created. We can do any of that.
Oh.
So it really takes the the strategy and the system behind it, everything goes back to the website. So everything we do beyond that drives to the website for sales, for capture, for lead, whatever. So when you're doing social media, that is your goal. So
Okay.
you want to talk about the people buy from people, they don't buy from a company, right? And so using that to tell the story of your business. I'm a storyteller. He will tell
Yeah.
you, like, that's his favorite word for me is you're a storyteller. That's really what it comes down to. You want to tell the story of your business in a way that captures attention. So it has to be done with intent. It can't just be willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Right. And so social media management also adds on to that as far as social media ad management, because now you can boost these ads, you can do that kind of stuff, and deciding where to spend that money, how to spend that money, that advertising dollar in social is huge.
Because, you know, on there you can decide like where you're marketing to,
Right.
you know?
Right.
And I think that kind of matters. You got to know where your customers are coming from as well. And where you're trying to get customers from, all the things,
Right.
you know?
Because you can't, like, you can hit all of them. It's a full-time job to do that.
Yep.
Right. So you have to know where your clients are.
And they may not be on Facebook.
They may not be on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook.
That's
Everybody
what
needs a train wreck. You just
My
want
kids aren't on Facebook.
well, your
They make
kids,
fun of me because it's
well, I'm sure.
older.
My kids aren't on Facebook either, but our kids are older. They're in their mid
Yeah.
Yeah.
20s.
But
So I guess if you're trying to hit that demographic, you would be, you know, on
That's
Instagram
TikTok.
or TikTok. Is it TikTok?
TikTok
Yeah, I
is
don't
where
know.
they all are.
so
Yeah.
all content is king. Content matters.
Right. Content matters,
But when
but
it's
delivery
without
and
strategy, you're hoping for something lucky
Yes.
to land on the right person's computer.
But, you know, these small business owners here, you know, they are their own marketing person. They are they're doing their books. They're doing, you know, there's everything falls on them. And so anytime that I can find a little help for them, you know, that, hey, somebody can teach you to do this because they're all about their business, their passion, that what they're doing in their
Right.
day to day.
Right.
Right.
That's what they care about. And the marketing stuff, it's like, you love this stuff. Like I don't love this stuff.
Right.
Like I don't love the marketing side, you know. I know it has to be done and I know it needs to be done in a certain way, but that doesn't mean that necessarily is my thing, you
Well,
know.
and I think in small towns like this, it's easier, right?
Mhm.
Because you're going to get more followers, you're going to get all that kind of stuff. I do believe it's easier to stand out. And but finding where your people are, what you need, who you need to be talking to, what you need to be driving to. If you don't know, you don't know,
Mhm.
right? And
Wow.
if you're just willy-nilly shotting it out there, like it's not necessarily going to do anything that you expect it to do.
Wow.
Right. And so it has to have a strategy behind it. There has to be a way to drive it forward. Um, but there's other things like social media is such a small piece of it. And I think people get stuck on my sister's cousin, husband's nephew, Josh, can do my social media for me.
Mhm.
And there are options. So you can get a strategy built for you that you can execute. You can get a strategy built for you that we coach you along. You can have a strategy built where you send us the stuff and we put it all together, or we have the option where we just take it over. You don't have to look at it. You don't have to worry about it if there's anything going on, right? The other thing we do a lot of is review management. So we send out email campaigns to capture reviews for Facebook, Google, that kind of stuff. That also helps. Setting that kind of stuff up. Lots of email campaigns, lots of platforms we use to do that. SMS text campaigns, we can do the
Yeah.
SMS text stuff.
Oh, wow.
SEO, the newest thing is the answer search optimization, the AEO. So
See,
sending
you're saying a lot of things that I'm like, so SEO is search engine
optimization.
optimization, and that means like where you're going to end up on a Google search,
Right,
Right.
organically.
like organically. Okay,
Right.
so there's actually a way to help that.
There is.
That's crazy.
There is.
And what was the other thing you said?
Is answer, what did I just say? Answer search optimization.
Right.
But what does that mean?
That is, everything now is all AI. So people are
Yeah.
searching in ChatGPT, they're searching in Grok, they're searching in Baird and Gemini and all these things. And when those answers come back, you want your website, their copy, the words itself, to be able to answer the question. And so we do a lot of back end research into your industry and that kind of stuff to make sure that when people start asking those questions, and it's cutting edge right now because people
Yeah.
are just now, Google has been king for so long. I'm not saying it's not still a part of the party, but I'm saying now you have to add these other pieces.
Wow.
because people aren't searching. I don't
I
know
feel
the
like
last time.
you always have to add another piece and
Right.
add
It is.
another piece,
And
and it's constantly
it's changing.
changing.
It's constantly
Like
changing.
Facebook, when I started here, um, at the chamber, it is so much different than what we do now. And some of that's because Facebook itself has changed. That's
Mhm.
because how we market's changed. It just, but it's constantly.
Right.
There's always something that I have to learn or I've got to figure out or, something. So I
I've
think
been
that's,
doing Facebook as a profession for a really long time. I have a funny story about that. When I was homeschooling my kids back in the day when I kind
yeah.
of learned it, and my dad used to say, "Oh, everybody tells me you're on that book of face all the time." So now I laugh because
Yeah.
now, I'm like, haha, it's my whole career. But the thing about Facebook is it changes so fast. I'm on it every day. I've been in it every day for 20 years that sometimes I'm still like, well, that was just there.
Yeah.
Right. So it has to be, I talk about it because I'm passionate about it because this is what I do, but it has to be frustrating to somebody who's like, I'm only going to go on a
Yes.
couple times and try to do something,
Because, and I think too, people don't realize they can schedule out their
Mhm.
content, but it's important to have a strategy with your content,
Right.
Right.
and I think because you can plan it out because some of mine just, it's this whenever my audience is active, this is what is
Mhm.
being sent out, those things. And there's all kinds of tricks and tips and stuff that you just don't know if you're not
Right.
into this every
If you're not
single
doing it every day.
And
day.
people see it if you post regularly, especially like with the stories or the reels where
Hmm.
it shows you your analytics. You could see that if you put something up on Sunday night, it might have more views than something from Thursday. So there's even little schedules
Yes,
like that.
and it's so crazy. Like, when Facebook started doing that, I was just like, "What? What?" So
Well, and Instagram's the same way,
mhm,
LinkedIn's the same way, like, it's figuring out your optimum times, and there's a lot of platforms and programs out there that we use as cheats that tell us exactly the best time to do
mhm.
that. I mean, I don't have a magic 8 ball that tells me, "Hey, we're gonna post today at 4 o'clock." Um,
But I know, a lot of our small businesses have started using you just because they had questions. Like, it's
mhm,
and it's some of it they need coaching on,
mhm.
and some of it they need you to actually help come up with an entire strategy,
Right,
you know?
and we've done a couple really, like, starting over, like, brand redos
Mhm,
for 2 businesses here in St. Mary's. So all new logos, all
mhm.
new color choices, all new websites, all new forward-facing stuff, and even in a small market like this, things get dull.
Yeah.
It doesn't print well, it doesn't
Mhm.
embroider well on a shirt, it doesn't do the things you wanna be able
Mhm.
to do with it, right? And so, we've been fortunate to come up here and kind of be able to do that. So
Yeah.
and we do crazy things like, one of our clients up here, we just sent out a whole referral system where everybody can have their own referral. So if they send this referral link to somebody and they use it, you can actually make your own money back. Like you can earn discounts
Oh,
towards their
wow.
services. So
That's cool.
it's
Huh.
thinking outside the box and thinking, how can we get these people in front of everybody is
Mhm.
really where my little brain spins. That's what keeps me up at night. Like, what can we do
But I
to
love how
help
much
them?
you've just loved on our businesses here in Camden County. You've just embraced us and loved us and
But you guys have
helped
done that
us.
to me too. So
Yeah.
that's been really cool.
Well, when I got to meet you at Boss Lady, I'm like, I don't know who this girl is, but I need to meet her. I need to know all the things about her. So you were so funny, just so real with us, and I just appreciate how you've come in and just been amazing.
But
So
I'm fortunate. I remember meeting you that first time, and I
yeah,
walked over and I was like, I need this move, but I can't move it. And you looked at me, and I was like, when I got up and gave my little
yeah,
speech and did my thing, and I was like, so I broke my arm and I can't lift anything. And you
yeah.
were like, oh my God, that's why she could move
I was
it.
sitting there judging her before. I'm like, why can't you pick this up and move
You didn't,
it?
you didn't get, and I
I'll do it for you, princess. And
totally thought I was a princess. And then I was like, oh, by the way,
yeah.
but I've had a lot of fun coming up here.
Mm.
I mean, we are based out of Florida. We're based out of Jacksonville, and it doesn't matter. Do you know what I
You've spent
mean?
a lot of time up here.
I'm up here I'm up here at least once a month for a couple days.
Mhm,
I come up and spend
mhm,
time and sit in the coffee shop and talk to people and shake
mhm,
hands and kiss babies is what I tell
mhm.
him all the time. Um, because I love this community,
Yes.
right? I was a military spouse forever. Small little military towns are kind of cool, and it's a coastal town and it's Georgia, and I don't know, it's just fun to be up here. And you guys have just wrapped me up, and that's been the best part.
Yeah.
and you guys have allowed me, like, I've come in and said, "Hey, let's do lunch and learns," and you're like, "Okay, build it. Tell me what we're gonna do." I'm actually talking to some other marketing places here in town and seeing about doing a marketing day where we'll
Yeah.
have, like, the Georgia Tribune,
Mhm.
Money
Yeah.
Pages, and the girl from the radio station, and we haven't even talked to them about it yet. I'm just saying these are things like
You've always got ideas.
you've given me full reign, and so
Yeah.
I'm running.
Yeah.
I'm doing all that, because I do think that's what's fun about coming into a small town market, right? Is we can teach
Mhm.
keywords and new things and
Mhm.
new strategies that people don't know.
Yeah. 'Cause how like I said, we spend so much time in our especially our business owners, like, I can't tell you, I was amazed when I took this job at how hard these people work
Mhm.
for their business and for
Right.
something they believe in, and I am such a cheerleader for them, I love it, and I keep telling people, like, it's just them
Yeah,
in their businesses, like, doing everything,
right,
you know? So when like I said earlier, like, when you were coming in here and it's hard to stay up on those things regardless if
right,
you are busy or not, but when you have a business on top of that and you're trying to run that, the last thing you wanna do when you get home is learn anything else about Facebook,
right.
you know? So I just think having you here with the expertise behind it and knowing like what's actually happening and being able to coach people through that, it's so rewarding when you have somebody that comes in and says, "Hey, I'll help you. I've got this," you
Right.
know, it just makes a huge difference. So I appreciate you. There was even something you came up with for our members. I know it was a little special for Camden County, doing websites or website audit or something.
Mhm. Yeah, we're gonna do we normally charge $500. It's normally
Mhm,
$4.99 for us to put the man-hours in
mhm,
to do a full audit of
mhm,
your website, your SEO, and
mhm,
we take an eye at your social,
mhm.
see where you are. We're offering that free. um,
Wow.
through the beginning of Memorial Day weekend. I'm giving you guys like this was our spring spectacular kind of thing. So you guys will get that. And then there's discounts like $100 towards Google ads or
Mhm.
30% off social media content ideas for the
I
next
love
3
it.
months. So there's a couple of things out there that to get everybody started, so that they can kind of get to know us and we can get to know them. The thing that everybody needs to remember is we too are a small business. We too do it
Yep.
on our own. Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yes.
And so I've worked with small businesses for 20 years. So I like to go, that's my sweet spot. So I
Mhm.
want to give them things that are going to help them.
Absolutely.
Right.
We appreciate that. The guys, just so you know, the link for that will be in the show notes, and we'll be promoting that and sending it out as an email as well. So we appreciate that.
Well, and we are a veteran owned business, right? It's
Oh,
veteran owned,
yeah.
female owned. Like,
Mhm.
so we are, it means something to us. We offer veteran
Mhm.
discounts, like for guys who want to start their own business and don't know where to start.
Yeah. And we have so many of those.
Mhm.
Doing the military tour, I learned really quick how many retired um just retired military in general, but especially how many the Navy brought here. They were stationed here, let's say, however many years ago, and decided they want to come back.
Right.
And once they retire, they're starting these businesses.
Mhm.
And like the bicycle shop, Terry Landreth, he's retired military. Same thing with Game Over, Shannon Wood. There's just so many. Even Keith Post at the Sub Museum. That's still a business, and he's retired Navy. So
Right.
there's just so I didn't realize how many we have here in our community, and they come back here and they wanna start businesses, and I don't think there's a whole lot of support. We have some veteran services here, but as far as business support, I don't know how much there is, so I would really like to tap into that.
Yeah. I mean,
That's awesome.
he's great at that part of it. And, we work in tandem to get it
Yeah.
done. We also work a lot with nonprofits. So we do a
Oh,
lot of nonprofit work because there's things that are important to us that,
Right.
yeah.
we want to be able to help
Nonprofit's
them.
your heart.
Yeah. Like be able to help people.
Mhm.
It's that giving back and doing all that kind of stuff, the community.
Yeah,
That's important to us.
yeah. Guys, this is amazing. Now is this your you love this stuff too?
Marketing is, especially the digital behind the scenes stuff, is pretty neat to
Mhm.
see, and obviously I'm learning as I go.
Yeah.
Um, I'm more driven by the entrepreneurship aspect of it.
Mm.
When we originally, I don't even know if it's on recorded, but we talked about I just didn't want to have a job, right?
Yeah.
Um, or more clearly, I didn't want to work for someone else,
There we
right?
go.
So the hours and times and energy that we can put into a standard job that has a boss or maybe
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
ownership, we don't individually benefit from that.
Yeah.
But as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
typically the harder you work, the
The
more
more you
fruits on
benefit.
your
Yeah.
labor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's energizes me to help small businesses get to that point.
I love
Right.
it.
Because, owner operators,
Mm-hmm.
and you touched on it a few times, is you go through the day working on the thing that you're passionate about. It might be sales, it might be landscaping, it might be cooking
Yeah.
food.
Whatever it is. Mm-hmm.
And then you get home and then you are probably bummed out because, well, I'm not really passionate about Facebook or
Right.
marketing or billing or all those other things that come with,
That make the business go.
right.
You know.
So that's our goal, is to take some of that off of you, or at
Yeah.
least help you with it,
Mm-hmm.
to make it either more efficient for you,
Mm-hmm.
or just be involved with it, right, and partner up and do some things.
Because it's a stressor. Like when you know you've got to do that, you don't really understand what you're doing, but you just got to get something out. Like it causes stress. Like, ugh,
Yeah,
Well, we look at a lot of businesses every day that, the last time they posted was last October.
Yeah.
Or,
it's one of the first things we do.
I mean,
Yeah. That's
that's
one of the first things I do. I
that's
look at the website.
when they send us, we get a request in, that's typically Tom's like, here's their website, here's their social, they
Mm-hmm.
haven't posted since such and such, right? And so he's gathering that information. At the same time, I'm looking to see what is obvious. Where do we need to start? What do we
Mm-hmm.
need to do first? And that's really how we power through these.
Right.
Yeah. Huh.
So
That's really cool, guys. I'm so glad you're here.
we're glad to be here.
And I'm glad you're working with our chamber and figuring this out with us. And because, we're still growing and changing and figuring things out and adding things and, whatever. So I just appreciate any help that's coming on board to help our businesses and help us and just all the things. So
We're here. We're not going anywhere.
now, how I want you to tell people, first of all, is there anything else that you guys wanted to say that we didn't touch on today?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think that's.
Now, I did want you to tell people how they can get a hold of you.
Okay, so if you go to manic-social.com, you can go to any of the social platforms, TikTok, all of them, and type in Manic Social. You will find us.
That's where
If you
you
want
are.
to reach out to us directly, I'm Jen at Manic Social, JEN, 1N, and Tom at Manic Social.
Easy peasy.
Super simple.
Love it.
Super simple.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. I really appreciate it. This has been so informative. And like I said, we'll put the link for everything in our show notes. So,
Awesome.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. You've caught episode 49 of the Getting in Your Business podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.